Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com and the Big Four Accounting Firms YouTube channel. Make sure to check out our website and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And on our website, if you go to our blog, you'll see that we have the COVID-19 Big Four layoffs and pay cut tracker. And we're keeping that up to date, not only for the Big Four, but the other largest accounting firms in the world. And today we have a couple of updates on that. So last time we spoke, KPMG had announced some pay cuts and layoffs around the world, but nothing's really been announced in the U.S. Well, that's been updated. KPMG U.S. says that they will be reducing partner draws, and this is how much the partners can take out, by as much as 50%, but they're not going to lay people off in the U.S. yet. I'll speak more about KPMG in a second, but I also wanted to announce some other news. BDO has also announced that they're going to cut people's pay, and they're going to be cutting people's pay from 5 to 10%. If you make over $60,000. If you make over like $200,000, they're going to be cutting it by 10%. But if you make less, then they cut by as little as 5%. And this is going to be happening for about 4 months. And this is what we've seen at other firms. Other firms have been cutting pay for about 4 months. And it seems like they're all getting on the same page here. All these firms are probably talking to each other or watching each other's news stories and figuring out what to do. Another reason they might do it until August is because hopefully people think this COVID-19 might be somewhat water under the bridge by then, or at least that they can figure out what happens and maybe they'll extend the pay cuts even further. And then also Cliff Larson Allen, which is another one of the world's largest accounting firms, has announced that they're going to cut pay for their people by about 10%. And that's also starting in May 1st, similar to BDO. And another thing KPMG announced too that I forgot to mention was that they're going to have no bonus program this year. So people that were expecting a bonus at the end of the year aren't going to be getting that. And I'm sure like raises will be limited as well, but their fiscal year doesn't come till the end of September. And I want to talk about KPMG. I think KPMG US is doing a better job than the global firm. And this could be for a number of reasons. I think KPMG US is worried about the optics of laying off a ton of people, especially with the stimulus plan, because I'm sure the Big Four are going to somehow get some of the stimulus plan. And what that means is they can like take out a loan to be able to pay their people, where the global firms might not have such a large stimulus plan as the U.S. had. And also globally, the people might not care as much as they would in the U.S. Because in the U.S., it's because of all this stimulus plans, it looks really bad if you lay off a ton of people. And also if your firm is built around winning clients because of a strong brand, it doesn't look so strong if you're laying off all your people. And especially in the business community in the U.S., everybody's connected somehow. So if you lay off a ton of people, then like I said in the other podcast, that person knows somebody or their family works somewhere else for a client. And if they know that you fired their family member or something, then why are they going to give you the work? They're going to choose one of the other Big Four before they choose you. So I think the US is thinking a little bit better here for KPMG. But also you have to remember that Lynn Doty is going to be leaving KPMG pretty soon. So I'm not sure how this will change things once she leaves, and if the economy keeps going the way it is, and KPMG US might be just forced to lay people off. But I also think this speaks to the Big Four business model. It's a little bit confusing because all the firms apparently don't have cash on hand. Apparently they give it all to the partners, and that's really confusing business model to me. I think they have to relook at the way they're doing business, because if you don't have enough cash to continue business through a downturn when you're one of the most profitable companies in the world, it just doesn't make sense. And this whole partnership model anyway is kind of antiquated. It made sense when you're CPA firms, but when you have like a billion partners around the globe, they're not really partners, they're just employees. And they're just really, really overpaid employees, obviously. If they can take a 50% pay cut, in the UK they're taking like 30% to 50% pay cut. Some of that money should be put into cash to weather these types of things. And I think this really shows how like old school the Big Four accounting firms are. And also it shows a weakness in cash collections, because if you work in the Big Four accounting firms, cash collections is always bad. You always have all these invoices outstanding. And I'm sure that's what happened here with the Big Four and the other large accounting firms. They had tons of invoices outstanding. And then COVID-19 hit, and then all these clients are saying they can't pay. Apparently the business model was to take those payments and then just shift them right to a partner. And I think in the future, the Big Four need to look at that They need to figure out a better way to do business so that not only that they can keep more people, prevent laying them off, but also have consistent payments to partners, because it's going to be not so appealing to people to be a Big Four partner if you go into a recession and the pay that you're used to receiving is cut by 50%. That's not like really predictable, and it's not really appealing. Think of all the people that just made partner or might make partner this year. If you're going to make partner this year in the Big Four accounting firms, this is probably the worst year to make partner because your compensation is not going to move that much. I think the Big Four need to look at their business model after this and really get a hold of what's best to weather the storm. And I'm not saying that they're worse than any other company, but they're also more stable than any other company because they have government regulated things that need to get done, like taxes and audits. So they should be able to weather it better. And I think the whole partner thing is a little bit old school and it's from the old system. And it probably would be better if they're just treated more like employees and just pay them that way. And you don't have to have all this partnership stuff, because the partnership stuff is obviously not meant to handle situations like this. The partnership model, based on these news stories, is built on constantly growing. And the other problem is when they constantly grow, they just create more partners and they don't project any downturns. And so what happens is you have more and more partners earning more and more money. And then any downturn, you have all these partners and some of them aren't going to be doing anything and you just don't have any cash on hand to weather the storm. The other thing I wanted to discuss now is I think we have all the ways that the Big Four accounting firms are addressing COVID-19, and the way they're doing it is different across the globe. Some are doing sabbaticals where you can take a sabbatical, a voluntary one, or they're mandating that you have to take one. And I'm sure this means either you're not going to get paid during that sabbatical or you're going to have reduced pay. Then you have some firms that are just laying people off right away. And I'm sure those are the ones with the most collections outstanding and the most people not doing very much. You have some firms that are reducing the hours for training, or reducing the time for training, reducing the amount of internships and the time for internships. We have a few that are mentioning they're reducing hiring, but not all the firms are talking about what their changes in hiring are. But I think the reason they're not talking about hiring is because it's not really visible. If you're reducing hiring, you just hire less people. You don't want to announce that. So I'm not sure how much we're going to hear about that. But that's also why I think people should try and take advantage of the offers they do have as soon as they're possible, because you don't want to be one of these people stuck out there when these firms decide to stop hiring. And another way the Big Four firms are dealing with this is by reducing pay, and the most positive and proactive firms are reducing partner pay, but the other ones that I think are getting a little bit more panicking are reducing pay for employees. And I'm talking about base pay. I'm not talking about bonuses. Basically, all the firms are going to be getting rid of bonuses for the current year. And right now, as far as reductions in pay, for at least the Big Four, the reductions in pay right now, for the most part, are for 4 months. And they're all doing about the same timeline for 4 months. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep that up. So those are pretty much the ways that the accounting firms are addressing the COVID-19 situation. You can get the most up-to-date information on our website on that COVID-19 tracker, but we'll be updating you here on the podcast as well. So make sure to subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be checking out our tracker on our website. We hope this provides some clarity and wanted to thank you for listening.